Welcome to a new episode of DIY Projects with Lures with Attitude. Today, we're going to refurbish a staircase hallway. Let's get into it. What got us interested in doing this project in the first place is that you can see here that the paint was just very blah. Some of it was chipped. The railings were just not very good. As you can see in the next picture here as well, the actual bracket on the wall didn't come out of the wall but broke at the bracket, and upon further review we just found out that it was a very cheap and not very useful bracket in the first place, which is kind of dangerous. So here we are doing this project. So first what I ended up doing was using this dry deck spackling, and I went around to each part of the wall and filled in every nook, cranny, pit, ditch, trench, cavity, crater, depression, hollow, well, borehole, excavation, shaft, mine shaft, dugout, cave, cavern, pothole, and chamber, and made sure that they were all ready to go in order to sand flat for the paint. And yes, I'm using a butter knife. Don't get on me about having to use a putty knife. If you have to use a putty knife, you probably are the same people that make your cream cheese sandwiches look like this. Next up, I took my palm sander and I used 60 and then 120 grit and went over all the patches that I did, and then later on over all the walls. Of course, things were going too well and something had to go wrong. So the palm sander decided to be the devil on this one and wouldn't hold on to the sanding sheets anymore. So of course my cheap ass decided to try to slap it back on there again like it was not gonna fall off, and of course it did, and it did, and it did. So at the end of the day I decided to just go ahead and hand bomb the rest of the project sanding wise and just do it all by hand. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of elbow grease. I'd also like to give a shout out to my camera lady who took her $2,000 phone and dangled it 2 stories over a set of stairs in order to get this shot. I don't know if that was really that smart. Seeing as how my steady hand looks like an old man with Parkinson's, I take over cameraman and I give my fiance the paintbrush, and we start painting with a sage green. For those that like the satisfaction of a finished project, I'm going to be savage like the Sopranos and cut it off right now. I'm just kidding, I wouldn't do that to you. Let's all enjoy this one in regular time. Ah, the satisfaction of a finished wall. This camera angle was especially interesting as I got a lot of weird looks as the only guy in the city that was sitting on his porch with a big knife whittling away at his wood. We had a big storm in the area about a week before I wanted to go out and do this, so it was perfect timing. So what we did is go out to the forest and we picked out 2 straight branches that had fallen off of a tree, and we ended up finding a piece of ash and a piece of yellow birch. So all I was doing now was prepping the wood by tearing off the excess bark and getting a smooth finish on it with some 60 and then with some 120 grit sandpaper. And then what I ended up doing was taking some Varathane gloss and spraying that all around to give it that shine and to harden it up. And then after that, it was a quick spray coat, aerosol spray coat of clear coat, and that's what gives it its final finish. And then from there on, what you want to make sure is we've taken these Hillman railing brackets. This one here is a brushed bronze. I thought that was a nice touch, nice color to accent the live wood and the green wall. And from there on, what you want to do is you want to pick somewhere along the branch that looks fairly flat and that you can make even. And what you want to do is you want to pin that down. If you want to use the slope of the stairway, a couple of construction workhorses, or a long desk, anything like that that gives you a long flat surface. And what it can do is you can pin that down and make sure that it's not wobbling on you as you're trying to work on it. Either way, what you want to try and do is get them in a flat area where they're going to be easy to measure and mark up, so that it looks a little off on the camera here. It's kind of fisheyeing a bit, but these two here are quite they're quite flat to each other when you put them up against the wall, and that's going to make it really easy to install this on the wall. All we're going to use is some drywall plugs and then some screws that actually came with these Hillman brackets. So that's what we're off to do next.
And because I'm so great at this YouTubery, this whole video was basically based on a before and after shot, except that my bonehead didn't get the before shot. So, this is what it would have looked like beforehand. And here are the final results. Thank you for watching this far into the video. I'd like you to like and subscribe for more content later. For now, that is all.